Well, welcome to the 700 Club. 50 tornadoes ripped through 11 states over the weekend, killing at least 32 people. Hundreds more lost their homes and then everything they own.
Rescue and recovery efforts are underway. Local churches are reaching out to those devastated by the destruction, and Operation Blessing teams are on the ground in storm-ravaged Arkansas. Dale Hurd reports.
In devastated Wynne, Arkansas, where 4 people died, Pastor Marvin Norman described driving his wife through what was left of their community.
Told me, she said, turn around, take me home. She said, I can't stand it. She said, take me home.
As many as 52 tornadoes left a path of destruction across America's midsection and east, killing dozens. This EF3 tornado tore through the Arkansas capital of Little Rock as a driver caught in the middle of it had to ride it out in his van.
100% did think I was going to die. Once I saw the winds pick up the way they did.
In the small town of Adamsville, Tennessee, 9 people lost their lives.
Praise the Lord.
But we're alive. We're alive.
Misty Gardner and her family sought shelter in their basement when a tornado hit and destroyed their home.
I was watching my husband. He was down on his knees praying, and I was listening to him pray. I was just saying, yes, Lord, please keep us safe.
Northwest of Chicago, a roof collapsed at this concert venue, killing 1 person. Joe Biden has declared Arkansas a major disaster area. In Wynne, Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders praised the recovery effort.
Obviously, this is just an unbelievably tragic moment for our state, but what I found to be so amazing are the people who are stepping up, not just from this community, but across all of Arkansas.
Operation Blessing assessment teams are on the ground, meeting with pastors to begin distributing and serving food, water, and other relief supplies to their communities.
We're thankful for organizations like y'all's that's come in and partnering with the local church.
But when you look at our city, it hurts to see there's such a great need and to see people who have lost everything. And it's even more when people lose everything, you really didn't have nothing to start with, Harley.
Meanwhile, in Mississippi, which was devastated by last week's tornadoes, Operation Blessing is continuing to deliver loads of food and water through local churches there. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Well, if you want to be a part of the recovery effort, it's real simple. Call us, 1-800-700-7000. Just say you can count on me for the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. That's a designated fund we've set up to help disasters, whether it's earthquakes in Turkey, refugees from Ukraine, or these horrible tornadoes. The people there are suffering so much. We want to help them. And we're doing it in your name when you're giving to the Disaster Relief Fund. So you can write to us at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. Just put Disaster Relief Fund on the memo line of a check. You can text us. Text OBDR to 71777, or you can go to cbn.com. There's a place on the giving page where you can designate your gift, or you can call us, 1-800-700-7000. In other news, former President Trump flies to New York today in preparation for his arraignment at the Manhattan courthouse tomorrow. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That's right, Gordon. The former president faces about more than 30 charges related to an alleged hush money payment before the 2016 election. The arraignment is set for 2:15 Tuesday afternoon Eastern Time at the Manhattan Criminal Court. The streets around the courthouse will be closed off, and there won't be any other proceedings on the 15th floor where the arraignment will take place. Trump attorney Joe Tacopina told ABC's This Week it will be unlike any other proceeding he's ever seen.
You know, this is unprecedented. I don't know. I've done a million arraignments in that courthouse with celebrities and whatnot, but this is a whole different thing. We have Secret Service involved. I understand they're closing the courthouse for the afternoon. I just don't know what to expect to see. Hopefully, what I hope is that we get in and out of there as quickly as possible, that it's, at the end of the day, a typical arraignment where we stand before the judge, we say not guilty, we set schedules to file motions and whatnot or discovery, and we move forward and get out of there.
President Trump is expected to fly back to Florida later that day, where he'll make a public address from his Mar-a-Lago residence Tuesday night. While voters in Wisconsin go to polls in a crucial election Tuesday, pro-life organizations consider the battle for control of the state's Supreme Court, life or death. Conservative judges currently hold a one-seat majority that Democrats are trying to take. CBN's Caitlin Burke tells us why many view this as this year's most important statewide race.
This is a high-stakes election. In other states, we've seen voters get the say on state issues like abortion. In Wisconsin, however, laws can't be overturned through ballot initiatives. Those decisions go to either the state legislature or the high court, and both have been in Republican control for over a decade.
On April 4th, voters will weigh in on the issues through their choice of a new state Supreme Court justice. Republican Daniel Kelly facing off against Democrat Janet Protasewicz.
This is going to be an election like no other.
There's too much at stake, way too much at stake for us to stop for even a moment.
As key cases appear headed to the state's high court, the outcome of this race could have implications on issues from redistricting and voting rights to deciding whether abortions will be permitted here. Since the primary campaigns began, groups on both sides have been pouring money into the contest. Now, the general election is expected to become the most expensive state Supreme Court race ever.
We invested 6 figures in the primary. That primarily went to voter outreach through calls, texts, mailers. We're going to have an even bigger investment this time around that we'll be announcing in the next few days.
As Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, makes a major push for Kelly, Director of State Public Affairs, Kelsey Pritchard, says it's time for organizations like hers to take action.
We're at risk of having many row decisions that nullify the laws on the books that save lives and protect the unborn. And so it's really crucial that we be engaged in these races going forward.
While Wisconsin Supreme Court candidates may take conservative or liberal positions, court seats are officially nonpartisan. Carrie Severino with JCN says the key for voters is to choose the candidate who will uphold the Constitution rather than legislate from the bench.
We see a real contrast there with one judge saying, I'm going to vote for change in Wisconsin, trying to change the abortion law, trying to change the state redistricting. Whereas Judge Kelly is committing to saying, no, we need to be looking at what the law says.
Also in jeopardy pending the outcome of this election, Republican laws enacted when they had full control of the state government. Laws like former Governor Scott Walker's signature legislation known as Act 10, a measure eliminating collective bargaining abilities for most public employees.
They're going to get rid of our Act 10 reforms. They're going to get rid of prohibitions on abortion, protecting the sanctity of life.
Protasewicz has also signaled support for redrawing congressional boundary lines, a move Walker says could have national implications.
They could gerrymander in a way where at least one, maybe 2 of those House Republicans from Wisconsin could get bumped out of a seat.
Both candidates are expecting record turnout for that April 4th general election. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Thank you, Caitlin. The world's more than 2 billion Christians are observing Holy Week, which began with yesterday's Palm Sunday observances. Pope Francis holding a special mass in St. Peter's Square before 60,000 people. The pontiff just out of the hospital after dealing with a case of bronchitis. In Jerusalem, Christian pilgrims walked through the city to commemorate Jesus' arrival in Jerusalem in the days before his crucifixion. Holy Week culminates on Easter Sunday, celebrating Jesus' resurrection from the dead. Well, all across the Golden State this weekend, Californians heard the message of salvation through Jesus Christ. The services saw thousands baptized into the faith, and more received the mandate to go and preach the gospel. CBN's Wendy Griffith reports from Hope Fest.
I grew up in a lesbian household with 2 moms. I had never heard the name of Jesus.
28-year-old Ross Johnston was a test tube baby and raised by 2 lesbians. Sunday in L.A., he told the crowd of young people it's time for their generation to be bold for Jesus. Scores rushed the stage to dedicate their lives to the Lord.
In 2020, when all the craziness was happening in America, I felt the Holy Spirit speak to me. If you don't stand now, Ross, When will you ever?
Here at Hope Fest LA, many Gen Zers received their marching orders to preach the gospel, heal the sick, and love their generation back to Jesus.
People are looking for their meaning in life in all the wrong places, and then we get to encounter them with the solution, which is Christ, you know?
I'm a missionary, and I see like all the ins and outs of what's going on, what Jesus is doing, and even just behind the scenes, it's just crazy how much revival is happening.
26-year-old Joel Mott says Gen Zers are looking for something real and aren't afraid of a challenge.
We were made for this, you know, like we were made like in the face of corruption, in the face of darkness, like this is who we are as believers. Like we are the ones who shine the light of Jesus.
Today, Ross and Joel run CaliforniaWillBeSaved.com and go around the state preaching and worshiping in places outside the church.
There was a couple walking to a satanic ritual. They walked by, they heard the worship, they heard the gospel, got saved and born again right there on the spot. I'll never forget it.
And it was during that time that the Lord began to give me vision for California.
Hope California was birthed from a dream where evangelist Mondo Matthews saw 10 stadiums in 10 regions of California filled with people seeking Jesus. Sunday, that dream became real.
We've seen hundreds baptized, hundreds saved, healed, delivered, and it's just been incredible to watch all the way from the top of from Sacramento to San Francisco, all the way down to La Paz in Baja California. It's been incredible. This generation needs to be saved. It has to be saved. If we don't save this generation, we lose America.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Los Angeles.
Thanks, Wendy. Gordon, some amazing testimonies coming out of Hope Fest.
It's wonderful to see. It's good news being proclaimed, the gospel going forward, and that's our goal. This gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness, and then the end will come. So that's what we all look for, the hope of the church, the second coming. It would be wonderful to have it in our lifetime.